Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I got two stories today. One is an update. I just got back from the doctors and I have an update on that. And remember the story about Sailaway Magazine and the podcasters and the YouTubers who were banned from Carnival Cruise Line? Well, I got an update on that as Daniel reached out to me from Sailaway Magazine because he wanted to make sure that the story was clear, and I appreciate the update. So first off, I had my x-ray and I saw my doctor, and the good news is there doesn't appear to be infection in my lungs. And the doctor said, okay, you can go to the pills. So on the way home, I filled my prescription and I now have those horse pills instead of the IV. And I tell you, my left arm is very thankful because in the past 2 weeks, I probably had about 50 times that left arm was poked with needles with IV and with blood tests, etc. Even the IV came out during the process and was leaking inside my arm numerous times. So it became very, very painful. My wrist is still just recovering from the last time. It was super sore. I couldn't even bend it. And now it's much better. So good news, I am going to be flying. In fact, when you see this, it'll be close to time for me to leave to the airport. My flight's not until an evening flight this time. Because of the 3-hour difference, it's actually much cheaper to fly later in the day than early in the morning when you fly to Vancouver and then on to Seattle. Now, there has been some issues in Vancouver. I don't know if you've seen the news, but there have been numerous backlogs and delays going through customs, particularly last weekend. Now, in Vancouver last weekend, they had record cruise ships and record tourism. In fact, it was the busiest weekend of the year for bookings. Now, it was Canada Day yesterday. 2 days ago. On July 1st, and then we have July 4th, right? Another big time, and it's so close to the United States that a lot of people fly into Vancouver and then fly into the United States there. So that's why it was really, really busy. But numerous people missed their connections. Numerous people lost their bags. Numerous people just were delayed over and over again. And so I'm hoping that's all fixed by the time I fly in. And I'm not flying in at peak time, I'm flying in at the evening. But the danger of that is when you're flying in the evening and if you miss your connection or your flight for any reason, then you got to find a flight the next day. That's why I'm flying in 2 days early from the cruise. Not to mention, you really don't want to fly on 4th of July. Super busy weekend, you don't want to fly. You want to enjoy 4th of July when you're in the United States. And I'm going to be checking all the websites and everything on Seattle. I'm wondering where the fireworks are going to be. Are they going to be at the Space Needle, or are they going to be down by the cruise docks along the ocean front? I'm going to find out where it is. I would imagine it should be near the Space Needle, right? You would think that's their big iconic landmark. You would think that's where the fireworks would be. So if that's the case and you're wandering around the Space Needle, you might just see me and maybe Tony walking around there. If you do, please come and say hi. We would really love to meet you guys. So yeah, looking forward to that. Now, just over a week ago, I believe now, we reported out that the YouTubers from Sailaway Magazine got a letter from Carnival saying, P&O Cruise Lines or Carnival UK saying that, well, it seems like we can no longer offer you the vacation you're looking for, so we don't think you should sail with us anymore. And basically banned them. Now, when this first came out, it kind of sounded like it was Carnival banning them all. Because they were even unclear who and what it was being banned. So Daniel reached out to me and he let me know, says, just want to clarify, it doesn't seem to be about their report on their recent cruise ship, the video they did. Apparently that's not the reason they're being banned. However, and it's not all of Carnival brands, it's not the 9 cruise lines that they owned. However, it is very important cruise lines in the UK. P&O Cruise Lines, Princess Cruise Lines, and Cunard Cruise Lines. 3 of the biggest sailing out of the UK area, and of course around the Mediterranean, etc. So if you're a person from the UK, you would say, oh, these are like our cruise lines almost, right? So it is a big ban. Now, they're still unclear. There's still a lot of situation around it. I know they've been in contact with Carnival UK, and I know other social media outlets have reached out to them and the Carnival and said, what was the reason for the ban, et cetera, and basically the cruise lines are coming back in the UK saying, we consider their matter closed. So they're not telling any other social media why the reason for this is happening. As you can imagine, if you are a blogger or like myself who review cruise lines, or if you have a website out there like Cruise Hive or Cruise Critic, and you happen to go on the cruise ship, are you worried now that you may get banned if you have negative reviews? And quite frankly, if that starts happening, if you see one particular cruise line banning a bunch of different social media outlets, then that reputation of the cruise line would drop like a stone. Because you don't need to take a cruise to criticize them, right? You could just watch the news and report on other people's. It's the way to do it. And you'd rather have people take your cruise and have a fair assessment of what's going on. And then you actually get feedback if there's a problem on one of your ships. And you could look at it and say, you know what? That's nitpicky. That's nitpicky. I don't think that's fair. That might have been a one-time thing. However, if it looks like it's a serious problem, then you would be able to adjust and fix it on your cruise line, right? Many, many times I've mentioned something almost in passing on a cruise, and the next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call from the office, and I'm getting a phone call, or I'm getting a visit from the hotel director in my cabin asking to meet with me, and they'll go over the problem. They'll say, oh, what happened? And I'll discuss it and say, okay, great, thank you for your feedback. We really appreciate it. And the next thing I know, that the problem's gone. They're working on it. That's the best way to do things. Banning people is not the best way to do it, especially if it's an honest review. Now, if you really feel they have something out for you, that's a different story. I haven't seen anything out there that seems to be, targeting a particular, oh, I hate it all the time. It's just, I don't get banning. I don't get banning people for honest reviews. So yeah, thanks for the update, Daniel. I really do appreciate it. I'll keep on watching your podcast. And maybe one day I'll be able to get on your podcast and maybe we can chat. It'd be great to meet you guys. Of course, I'm not in the UK. I'm there often, actually. But we can always do something online. And I do appreciate you guys. All right, so there you go. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you think something's a little fishy here? Does something's a little... And yeah, if you're doing honest reviews of a one-time thing, isn't that good for the cruise lines to know the feedback and know that, hey, this ship may have a problem. It may be something as simple as, hey, I don't think that's in the right position. I mean, you've seen me criticize different things on cruise ships many, many times, and I've never had anything but good responses from most cruise lines. One incident in 8 years of covering cruise lines on this channel, and that's it. And it's never happened since. And that was like 7 years ago. So yeah, not the way to go. Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, I hope you appreciate this video. You did? Please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.